worked construction for 43 years, retired at 65 with a solid pension, a paid-off house and a plan. The golden years he'd been grinding towards since he was 22. Then he met Lisa at his buddy's retirement party. They connect. Similar values, both ready for the next chapter. Within a year, they're married. 6 months after the wedding, Lisa quits her job. And that's where the pension that was supposed to carry one person is now supporting two. And Lisa? She's at yoga, at brunch, planning girls' trips with his retirement money. He didn't marry a gold digger. Gold diggers want luxury. Lisa wanted something darker. She wanted to retire on his 43 years of work. And if you're a man over 55 who's single, divorced, or dating, let me show you how this starts, because it doesn't look like what you think. She's not flashy. She's not asking for designer bags or expensive dinners. She's not 25 and obviously after your money. She's age appropriate. She has a job. She talks about being independent. She pays for things. She doesn't seem like she needs you financially at all. That's the camouflage. You're 65. You just retired. For the first time in 40 years, you're not defined by what you do, and nobody's really looking at you anymore. You walk through a grocery store and you're invisible. Then she shows up, age appropriate, attractive enough, and she's interested, actually listens when you talk, laughs at your jokes, touches your arm, asks about your life like she actually gives a damn. After years of being invisible, that attention feels like oxygen. Here's what you need to understand. She didn't marry you. She enrolled in your benefits package. Think about it like a job application. Requirements: over 60? Check. Retired or retiring soon? Check. Lonely enough to ignore red flags? Check. Application approved. In marriages under 10 years, pensions get split right down the middle. You spend 40 years building that nest egg. She shows up for the last decade and walks away with half. You're not a partner to her. You're a pension with a pulse. Now let me tell you about the first thing that should make your alarm bells go off. And most guys miss it completely because it feels so good. She moves fast. 3 weeks in, she's talking about how she's never felt this way before. 4 months in, she's asking if you've ever thought about getting married again. 6 months in, you're engaged. You tell yourself it's passion when you know you know. That's what she tells you too. At our age, why waste time? But here's what you're actually seeing. She's not falling in love fast. She's closing fast. Real love doesn't need urgency. Transactions do. Deals do. Cons do. A woman who genuinely wants to spend the rest of her life with you, she's fine waiting 3 years. A woman who needs access to your retirement account, she's on a clock. Because the longer you wait, the more time you have to ask questions. Why? Because you represent something she needs now, not love, a funded retirement. Let me tell you what nobody wants to admit about getting older as a man. You don't just age, you disappear. You spent decades being the provider, the fixer, the guy who showed up, shut up, and handled it. You were useful. People needed you. Then you retire, and suddenly, nobody needs you for anything. You walk into a restaurant and the hostess looks through you. You're at a family gathering and everyone asks how you're doing, but nobody actually listens. You try to contribute to a conversation and people check their phones. That's not just loneliness, brother. That's erasure. So when someone finally does see you, when a woman smiles at you and holds eye contact, laughs at something you said, asks about your day like the answer matters, it's like rain after a drought. You don't ask where the water came from. You just drink. Here's the thing nobody tells you about women and retirement. They retire with 40% less in their pension accounts than men. There are a lot of reasons for that. Career gaps, wage differences, whatever. But here's what matters. That gap is real, and it doesn't magically fix itself at 62 when the bills keep coming. When she's staring down 20 or 30 years of retirement and her account says good luck with that, what do you think she does? She finds someone whose account says welcome aboard. That's not evil, that's math. Cold, practical, survival math. The problem is, it's your math she's solving, with your numbers. Here's the second thing you need to watch for. And brother, this one's subtle. She asks questions, a lot of questions, about your finances. Not directly. She's way smarter than that. It comes out in casual conversation. Where do you like to vacation? Do you still work at all? What kind of car do you drive? Do you own your house? You think she's just getting to know you. She's not making conversation. She's running numbers. Every question is an assessment. Owns his house outright. Drives a newer truck. Takes 2 vacations a year. That pension's got to be at least $4,000 a month. Add social security. Factor in the home equity. Carry the one. By the 3rd date, she knows your net worth better than you do. And she mentions her own financial stress. Constantly. Her job doesn't pay enough. Her rent just went up. She's worried about retirement. I don't know how I'm going to make it work. You think she's being vulnerable. She's auditioning, and you're the casting director for the role of guy who fixes all of this. There's a story out of India from 2023 that shows exactly how. Mike, 64, worked for the county for 38 years, solid pension, about $6,000 a month, house paid off, 2 grown kids who live out of state. His wife died 4 years ago from cancer, and he spent 2 of those years just existing. Then he met Karen at a grief support group. She's 49, lost her husband 5 years ago, and works part-time at a medical office. They start talking and having coffee after meetings, then dinners. She laughs at his stories, cooks for him, makes his house feel like a home again. 8 months later, they're engaged. His kids are hesitant, but they don't push too hard. Dad seems happy again. They get married, and exactly 6 months after the wedding, Karen comes to him in tears. Her boss is awful and the stress is killing her. Her back hurts and she can't do it anymore. She needs to quit. Mike says okay, they'll figure it out. She promises it's temporary, just until she finds something less stressful. Just needs a break. That was 3 years ago. Karen hasn't worked a single day since. And every time Mike brings it up, she's got a reason. Her back, her anxiety, the job market's terrible. Meanwhile, Mike's pension that was supposed to fund his retirement is now funding hers. The woodworking shop he wanted to build, can't afford it. The trip to Alaska, not in the budget. Karen's at yoga 4 days a week, brunch with her girlfriends every Sunday. The girls' trip to Sedona she just booked, that really costs money. And Mike's thinking about picking up part-time work because the budget's getting tight. He's 67 years old, and he's about to go back to work so his wife can. Posted in 2026, my colleague lost $600,000 from his pension, and his houses and cars were sold. She quit her job 6 months after marriage, lived off his retirement while he had to go back to work at 68. Different woman, different country, same playbook. Here's the third thing you need to watch for. And brother, if you're seeing this one, you're already in trouble. She hates her job, can't stand it, talks about it constantly. My boss is such a jerk. I'm so burned out, and I just need a break. Every single day. Pay attention to when these complaints start. If she's mentioning wanting to quit within the first 6 months of dating you, that's not venting, that's foreshadowing. She's planting seeds, because here's how it always plays out. While you're dating, she's hanging in there. Once you're married, suddenly it becomes unbearable. Suddenly her health is suffering. Suddenly she can't do it anymore. Suddenly you're the solution, and you feel like an asshole if you push back. She's stressed. She's suffering. What kind of man would force his wife to stay in a job that's killing her? That's the trap. She's not asking you to support her through a rough patch. She's asking you to fund her permanent vacation, and she's framing it so you're the bad guy if you say no. User at Joseph J. She doesn't need to outlive you. Even if you outlive her, you took care of her for the rest of her life. She had her fun, maybe a 304, lived a wild life instead of working and saving, and now wants to settle down with a comfortable retirement funded by your hard work. Your peace is worth more than her peace. Read that again. Your peace is worth more than her peace. That's the whole game right there. Now let me show you how this plays out, because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Step 1. She targets the transition moment. You just retired, or you just lost your wife, or you just got divorced. You're vulnerable. That's when she appears. Step 2. She seems perfect for exactly where you are, age appropriate, independent, tired of the grind just like you were. Step 3. She moves fast but makes it seem natural. At our age, why waste time? Step 4. The financial assessment happens while you're falling in love. She's cataloging everything. Your pension, your home equity, your social security, your savings, all of it. Step 5. The job complaints start immediately after commitment. That's when her job becomes unbearable. Step 6. She quits. Temporarily, she says. Just needs a break. Step 7. Temporary becomes permanent. Your retirement. And suddenly you're the sole income for 2 people on a budget designed for 1. Step 8. You're trapped. Divorce her and lose half anyway. Stay married and fund her life. Either way, your retirement is over. Here's at Dennis Duke UG. After you've spent years building yourself up, don't make the mistake of becoming a retirement plan for some delusional and entitled woman who spent her prime years hopping from one man's bed to another. Those same women will suddenly come looking for you when they've burned through their options. Harsh? Maybe? True? Look around. Here's the 4th thing, and this one's non-negotiable. If you're getting this red flag, you walk, period. You bring up a prenup and she loses it. Don't you trust me? That's not romantic. Real love doesn't need paperwork. I can't believe you'd even suggest that. Tears, guilt, anger, whatever it takes to make you feel like you just insulted her by wanting to protect what you spent 40 years building. Here's what you need to understand. A woman who genuinely loves you, she's fine with a prenup. Actually, she insists on one, because she wants you to know she's there for you, not your assets. A woman who's running a con, a prenup is a deal breaker, because it's literally the one thing that stops the entire plan. Think about it. If she quits her job 6 months after the wedding, and you've got a solid prenup, she gets nothing in a divorce, zero. But if there's no prenup, she quits, lives off your pension for 3 to 5 years, files for divorce, and takes half of everything. She just got paid a 6-figure settlement for a few years of work. When she fights the prenup, she's not fighting for love, she's fighting for leverage. Patton from Atandre 710. Despite him being a stranger, the 2 weeks he'd groomed her, and her fear of being lonely, she said yes. 2 months later, he persuaded her to take out a life insurance policy. She quit work post-marriage. 2 weeks, 2 months to get life insurance with him as beneficiary. Then she quits and he drains everything. Different gender in that story, but same game. It goes both ways. Here's the rule. No prenup, no wedding. She fights it, there's your answer. Walk. So what actually happens? How does this play out long term? Let me show you the 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, the forever ride. She never leaves. Never has to. Your pension covers both of you for the rest of your lives. She never works another day. You live on a tighter budget than you planned. The trips you wanted? Can't afford them. You die first. Statistically, you probably will. And she gets your Social Security survivor benefits. She gets the house. She gets whatever's left in savings. Your 40 years of work funded her entire retirement. Congratulations. Your wife enjoyed your retirement. Scenario 2, the grey divorce. She waits. 10 years or 12 years, however long it takes to maximize the payout. Then she files, says she's not happy, says you've grown apart, and she takes half the pension, half the home equity, half of everything. You're 75 years old, starting over with 50% of what you built. Meanwhile, she's 55, collecting her cut of your retirement, and she's got 20-30 years to enjoy it. You've got maybe 10-15 years left, living on half of what you planned. Who won that game? Scenario 3, the health decline exit. You get sick, cancer, heart problems, stroke, something that requires care. Suddenly she's overwhelmed, can't handle it. This isn't what she signed up for. She files while you're at your most vulnerable, takes half your assets, takes half your pension, leaves you with the medical bills and no one to help. Studies show men who remarry within 2 years of retirement lose an average of 38% of their retirement assets within 5 years, nearly 40%. At Proletario 1. That Jezebel spirit is predatory. She drained him of his finances, then went around doing press tours calling him broke. Men need to stop dating the body of a woman before they know what her mindset is like. She gets what she came for, then rewrites history to make him the villain. Here's the 5th and final red flag. And brother, this one's the hardest to accept. Your kids don't like her. They're polite, but you can tell. They don't want to come over as much. They ask questions about finances that feel intrusive. They suggest you slow down or be careful, and you're pissed. They're just jealous. They don't want you to be happy. Here's what's actually happening. They see what you don't want to see. They're not blinded by loneliness or sex or the desperate need to be wanted again. They're watching someone they don't know suddenly have access to everything their father built. They're not protecting their inheritance. They're protecting you. Listen to me. If your kids are warning you, listen. If your friends are warning you, listen. Because every single guy who got cleaned out, they all say the same thing. I saw the signs. People tried to tell me. I just didn't want to believe them. Don't be that guy. So what do you actually do? How do you protect yourself? First, the 3-year rule. Don't marry anyone you haven't known for at least 3 years. 1 year is easy to fake, but 3 years, the mask starts to slip. The real person shows up. If she's still patient, still present, still working, still independent after 3 years, maybe she's real. If she's pressuring you to move faster, there's your answer. Second, ironclad prenup plus trust. Prenup protects you during the marriage. Trust protects your kids after.